change the mic. It's better now.
Is it better?
Yeah, you switched it around.
I don't think I did it on purpose.
No. It's called unlock.
I try to do things the right way, but it doesn't always work.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, you're looking good there.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
choice.
I like it. Looks
It's
good.
good. It was
It's
a good
better.
choice.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your eyes match now. Looks good.
Music.
Not your favorite.
I know that I was the first one to get married right after the war.
Really?
Really.
You'll talk about that.
You got snapped up.
My husband came.
I want. Today is July 24th, 1996. Our survivor is Esther Retkinski. Her maiden name was Isaacovich. I'm Lori Fine, F-E-I-N. We're in Brooklyn, New York, the United States of America, and our language is English. Now I come behind you and we read the same thing again.
So Lori's just going to introduce both of you.
Which side? Does it matter?
That side's good right there.
Okay. Are you comfortable in this chair?
Yeah.
It's your house, so you picked the furniture, right?
This what I have.
Today is July 24th, 1996. Our survivor is Esther Retkinski. Her maiden name was Isaacovich. I'm Lori Fine. We're in Brooklyn, New York, the United States of America, and our language is English. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Hi. Could you please tell us your name?
Esther Retkinski. My maiden name was Isaacovich.
Could you spell the names for us?
The other Retkinski.
All of them. Yeah. Esther.
Esther Retkinski.
And your maiden name?
Isaacovich. Ajzykowicz.
What's your Hebrew name?
Esther.
Were you ever known by any other names?
No.
Could you tell us your date of birth?
November 20, 1919.
How old are you now?
About 77, about this age.
Could you tell us where you were born?
Yeah, in Lodz, Poland.
What did Lodz look like?
Oh, Lodz was a beautiful city, like New York. A lot of stores and elegant people and beautiful houses. But we were living like in the outskirts. And in a big house, all Jewish people.
What did your house look like?
The house or the apartment?
Apartment.
The apartment was one big room, like this room here, one big room, and we were 8 children. And there were beds, and there was a big table with 6 chairs, and a big garderobe, like where they hang up clothes, and a kitchen, everything in this one room. And we were beautiful children.
Do you remember the address of this house?
32.
What street?
Drewnoska ulica, 32.
Could you tell us about your family? Maybe we'll start with your father.
Yeah, my father, he used to paint furniture. When they came from the store, from the factory, they came white, so my husband made it on a color.
Your father?
My father. And we were young, we were all young, but I started to go already to work. I was working by a dressmaker.
Could we go back a little? Could you tell us your father's name?
Schmeier. Szmajy. J-I.
What special memory do you have of your father when you think back?
We were a very close, knit family. There were a lot of aunts and tantes and grandparents. And we all were living in the neighborhood like in a walking distance. When it came like a Saturday or a holidays, we used to go together to visit Bobby, to visit Zadie. And we didn't know nothing about what's waiting for us.
What was your mother's name?
Vanya
And her maiden name?
Rosenblatt.
Did your mother work?
No. In Europe, mothers didn't work. There were 8 children, they had to take care of the kids.
What comes to mind when you think back to your mother?
Naturally, all right, you wouldn't live today also, but we were like the kids one after the other, and my mother used to cook. He used to help my husband bring the chairs and bring it back to chairs, and very close, like small children. I was the oldest in the house.
Could you tell me about your brothers and sisters?
Yeah,
Start with the oldest one.
and my oldest brother was David. He was going to a Jewish school, like special for boys, and this was. I was going to the public school, not the public school. It was a Jewish school, but from the city.
What was the name of that?
It was a public school, but special for girls. And then it was who this. The third one, who this, and she was going also to the same school where I used to go. It was in a walking distance. And then there was Sandel. He was going together with his David, with the first boy. And David was, Sandel was maybe second grade or third grade. And then came a girl, Zelda Geller, in Hanalaya, and Avrumala, and Moishala. 8 children.
You mentioned grandparents. Could you tell us about them?
The grandparents, from my mother's side, they died young somehow.
Do you remember them at all?
Not exactly. They were living across the street from us, under the Drevnovska ulica. So, but we were so busy with the one with the other, with the kids, and in this, and with the school, and it was not too time except for Shabbos and holidays. So we used to go over. But most we used to go to my father's parents. They lived a little further down, and also older people.
Do you remember their names?
Not exactly. Not exactly.
What was a typical day like for you? You went to school.
We went to school like 8 o'clock, and in the school they used to give us the milk and a roll. And then the arithmetic and everything, and then they learned us how to sew. And it was like a typical, like here in the schools, here in New York, the same thing. I think they even taught better in Europe than here. That's what I think.
Did you have any religious education?
The rabbi used to come to the house.
What would he teach you?
First a little to pray. This was number one. And then they, every Shabbos we used to go to the shul. The shul was on our block.
What was the name of the shul?
It didn't have a special name.
Do you remember the rabbi's name?
No. But my father used to go there every day. I used to go there Shabbos. I came with my mother. And Shabbos we used to go to put the cholent in the bakery, and we went to pick it up.
Do you remember what was in the cholent?
Yeah, everything. Like a cholent's supposed to be, like beans and a potato and a piece of meat. And we went to Friday we brought it to the shul, to the bakery. And the next day, 12 o'clock, we came we had a towel, so one this end and one of this end, we brought it back to the house. Then we had somebody used to come to make the light, Shabbos, to open it and to close it.
Do you remember the name of the person?
No, it was like somebody from the Polacken. And then...
How would you prepare for Shabbos?
And naturally, we wash the floor, laying on the floor, not like with a broom, but laying on the knees. And my mother, she baked challah and she cakes. And one thing I remember, like when they make the challah, they had to rise it, so they put this in the bed to be warm. And chicken soup, like here actually. Well, I cook the same thing the same way like my mother used to cook.
Do you remember Pesach?
Oh yeah, Pesach was something, you know. It was like every year, Pesach, we used to paint the apartment, just one room. But not only we, everybody had one room. We used to paint the room, and then the stuff, what we had, the beds with the cover, everything, we used to bring down in the backyard. Not only we, most of the people did this. And then we used to cleaning for the pots and the pans, we used to do also in the backyard. We had a pump with water. And this way, my mother used to make the lokshen and the cakes. So we rolled this thing, what you roll this.
A rolling pin.
Rolling pin. And then we used to wash the dishes over there for Pesach, every Pesach. And then somebody came and we toiled this, some things. We put it in. There used to come two men carrying on the shoulders, with a big, like here, a garbage can with hot water, and we put this in. Meanwhile, my mother bought, or my father bought the matzah, and we hung it up when it was painted, the room already, we hung this up on the wall, that nobody should touch it, because the kids were very anxious already to get a piece, so they wanted like from the bottom to a little bit to open it. Too anxious. They didn't remember from one year to the other.
How did you get the matzah? Who baked it?
In the bakery. The bakery. Lodz was a very intelligent city. And the people were, most people what I knew, they were like Jewish people. And Orthodox.
What was the percentage of Jewish people, non-Jewish people in the area? Do you know?
The non-Jewish didn't live together with us. We had like practically like we were like in a Jewish neighborhood, like in a ghetto practically, but free to go. Nobody was watching us. We could do whatever we want, but we didn't know about that somebody should beat us up or what or when. It was like, it was very quiet and very fine.
On Shabbos, did you have any activities with friends?
Yeah, I had friends. I don't remember where we used to go. This I actually don't remember where we used to go. But I had friends from the school and neighbors. Neighbors. We had neighbors. It was a big tall building where we used to live, so we had neighbors. And the neighbors had children, so we like got together playing in the backyard. Everybody had their backyard. And in the backyard, I remember like today, even we had some horses there in a stall. Yeah. And the toilet was also in the backyard. A built-up toilet. Some people said that they had like a hole. Even in Italy, I heard this. But we had a built-up toilet. And in the night, we had to manage everything in the house because nobody wanted to go out in the night, especially maybe in the winter. The winters were cold winters. Every time it was like snowing from October or November till Pesach start. I remember when it was this year so bad with the snow, so I have a neighbor here, so she was feeling sorry for me that I cannot go shopping. So I say, I'm used to this weather. In Poland we had this weather every year, the same thing. So nothing special by me. I loved over there this thing, but it happened that with this war that we got interrupted everything.
Do you remember Sukkot?
So of course, yeah. We they made a sukkah in the backyard for most of the Jews. Well, two sukkahs. One was for the tenants, and the other sukkah was for the landlord with a few richer people. So when everybody used to bring down food to the sukkah, and the women wanted to show off, everybody made something else. It was a poor life, but a happy life. This what was.
As a young girl, what were your dreams or your plans for the future?
Everybody was thinking when you're young, you become like 18, 19, you think already about going out and get married. But it was interrupted. It was interrupted. And I had friends, we used to go dancing, only girls. And we had a good time.
Did you belong to any organizations or groups?
Yeah, we are a Zionist organization.
What name?
Yuchnia. So we used to go there like in dancing, like Sunday night, in the winter, summer, in the night, summer, winter, it was longer nights, so we used to go there. We started to have a good time when you got a little older.
What were you doing before the war?
What
Were
I
you
was
still
doing?
in school or were you working?
No, it was already, I was working by a dressmaker.
What were you doing?
In Europe, you used to go to school 7 years. And after the 7 years, you had to go to learn a trade, because people were poor and they needed the income a little from the kids. So I was working by a dressmaker. And the dressmaker, she taught us how to sew, to make a hem, and a little bit to rip apart. Then she, whatever she made the dresses, I delivered the dresses to people. And I made a few dollars from it. She didn't pay me, this woman, because if she learns, we had to give it the time for learning. So she didn't pay us, but when we delivered the clothes to the people, we got like some money from the people. And I used to bring already a few dollars home to my parents. It started to be a little bit better, because like this, there was very meager with money in the house. We had family in America, so they used to send us for Pesach and for Sukkot, for the holidays. They used to send in some dollars. It came in actually very good. And we tried the best.
How would you describe your family's religious affiliations or life at that time?
In Poland, in Lodz especially, everybody was almost religious. They were maybe, my father was Alexander Husit, Alexander. I forgot this, but now I remind myself. My husband, his parents were Gere. And there were small shuls and bigger shuls. It was, when you're born in a city and you know this is it, so you try to make your best.
Do you remember what languages were spoken in your home?
The most was the Jewish, and for outside Polish.
Did you have any newspapers or any radio?
Yeah.
Do you have a radio?
No, the radio. when we found out about the war, we heard this by the groceryman. He was the rich man already in the neighborhood. So we went down, I said, we'll never forget this, it was on a Thursday, and we heard that the German came in.
What did you think this meant?
We knew right away it's no good.
What had you heard before this? What did you know about the Germans, the Nazis?
We didn't know nothing too much, because who was thinking of politicking? Who was thinking there's going to be a war? We were not rich, but we were happy. We didn't think about this altogether. We had a family, and we had the aunts and the uncles, and we were going like children, playing around and in the backyard with the ball throwing, and in the school we had like a place they arranged for us, for the whole school, and I used to sing very good. So that was like a singing group, and we used to sing, and it was very pleasant. I don't remember being bored.
Do you remember hearing any news about what was happening in other parts of your area, in other parts of Poland?
We started right away when they announced on the radio that the German came in to lodge. Next day was Friday. And I remember it was in like the White House, let's say. But over there was this place where it was like the White House, that the government was there in lodge. And that was staying a monument from Kościuszko. And I remember like today, this is a story already, like 50 years, at least. And then I went over there to this, where the pomnik is, and there right away the Germans threw down this pomnik, the monument. They crashed it. And I remember like today, we were staying there, and the Germans were speaking, somebody was staying on the steps and speaking already, and right away about the Jews, that the Jews are rich, and they're gonna kill us. And people were saying they don't believe this whole thing, because they're gonna kill us. We live here for so many years, they're just gonna kill us. It looked like funny to us. So, and I remember like today, right away they caught people that they should come and clean the shoes for the Germans. And where they were living, they took away right away big places, and they were throwing out the Jews. This was like a week later when they came in. And the Jews had to wash the floors and do for them the shoes. They felt like superior people, and we are the slaves.
Had there ever been any pogroms or any uprisings in your area, anything against the Jews before that time?
Not in Lodz. Maybe in other places, but not in Lodz. Lodz was a big city, and I knew most Jewish people. There were Polak also, Polish people, that they were living further down, like out of the city. Like where the train was going. But by us it was mostly like a residential neighborhood, not rich, but residential.
When the Germans occupied Lodz, do you remember any laws or rules that they put into effect?
Yeah, laws was right away that we're not supposed to go after 5, a curfew. So I remember my parents made me I was already like 19, so they made me a beautiful coat, a black coat with some fur. And I had a white hat, a little white hat, and I was a pretty girl when I was young. And I go back from work, and right away they stopped me, that I should not allow to go after 5, because this was the 5 the curfew was till 5 o'clock. After 5 you couldn't go in the street anymore. So then we knew already that we cannot go after 5, because if they caught men or women older, they took them right away to interview them, and beating men they beat up, and they took them even to prison.
Did you have to wear a yellow star?
Yeah,
What did it look like?
a Star David,
Was there any writing on it?
Jude.
And how did you get the star?
By me, it's cooking to guess. Somebody can close it? No? I'm afraid I should not get point. This Jude, I guess maybe they had it ready for us to pin it up.
Did you get one?
Everybody who
Or
had,
just one star?
yeah,
And how was that attached?
with a safety pin.
How
For
did
me-
you feel the first time you went out wearing it?
We had to take it as it is. What could we do? They were the bosses already. We were like nobody there.
How did people react when they saw you wearing it? Did you come across any non-Jews?
No, we lived just with Jewish people. I'm gonna close the gas.
Did you have any problem getting food?
Oh yeah, food we get every week. They gave us a ration.
Who gave this out?
It was like in a store. They gave it to the Jews, and the Jews gave it out to us. Was bread and rice and milk, all the small things. Meat, I don't even remember. Oh, they gave us meat.
Were you always able to get kosher meat
In the war?
before the war? And
Before the war, yeah, we had
when
plenty stores.
when did that stop?
This stopped in when if this store was in the place where the ghetto was, so then so we could go and get something, like bones maybe, nothing special, because you needed money. We didn't have any money. Wherever we worked, we were working just for food actually. They gave us the food.
In 1996, and our survivor is Esther Retkinski. What happened to people's businesses and work, jobs at the time of the German occupation?
It just happened that my husband's business,
Your
the
father.
parents' business, not my father. My husband's parents, they had the business like out of the ghetto. So they came in, the Germans, soldiers, plain soldiers, and they grabbed whatever they could.
Do you remember what uniforms they were wearing? What color?
I think green. And when I went to work, it was also like a little bit, I don't even remember if I was working in the ghetto. Oh yeah, they opened right away shops for us.
Before the ghetto was created,
Yeah.
did people lose their businesses, or were they still able to hold on to them?
Before the ghetto was?
Yes. When the Germans first came to Lodz,
They, little by little, they started to take away the stuff from the stores. Take out. I remember my husband used to tell me every time that he couldn't take that they took away the stuff from the store. So they made such a little wagon, and he took out some stuff from the store and put on the wagon, bring it to their house. Just happened they were living not too far from me, but also in the ghetto section. So the one soldier says to him, was machst du hier? And he says, I'm taking home a few pieces here. He says, let him take, they're gonna, so and so, they're gonna be totgeschlagen. They will kill them. So in the ghetto, we used to shop in the place. First of all, we didn't have the money to go to shop for food.
When was the ghetto created?
In April.
Of what year?
40.
And how were you affected by this? Did you have to leave your home?
No, it just happened that our apartment was in the ghetto. So when we were in the ghetto, once a week we used to go there and get a ration. Then little by little they started to open shops.
Who opened these shops?
The Germans. They gave the order. They knew how it is because maybe this was already like maybe they did this in other cities also. And Lodz was practically from the voice city in the big city. I don't know exactly where it was in other cities, like in Warsaw. Warsaw was also a big city, but Lodz I know how it was by us. I never was out of Lodz. So this, they made the shops, and like I told, I was sewing for a dressmaker, and my parents bought me a sewing machine, a Singer sewing machine. And they had the written down who has machines. The Jews already. But onto everything under the Germans' control. So they came and they took my machine, a brand new machine, and they opened my shop. The shop was in this side people and in this side people. It just happened that I was from the good workers. And I had it pretty good in this Lodz ghetto with the sewing.
What did you sew?
Dresses and garments for the Germans.
Why did they need dresses?
The Germans? They send it to them.
They sent it where?
Export. To Germany. And in Poland they were living also German. Like we were like in the middle in Poland. It was not too much German people, but in the school we even had a language in German. We had to take a language. So we were learning English. So in this ghetto, they used to make us food also, like soups. And it came lunchtime, they gave soups. And bread we had to take a little bit from the house, from the ration. But the ration was very meager, very meager. It was actually, people started to become sick, and they started to die out. My parents passed away in 1942 from hunger. My mother was so weak. She couldn't anymore walk. She had to push a chair, and to push the chair that she should be able to go from one place to the other. In the room, not outside. Outside she couldn't go out altogether. So she passed away in 42, in June.
Where was she buried?
They made a big cemetery in Maryshin, also in Lodz, but the outskirts of Lodz. They made a big place, and there was no tombs. It was like a little bit like the name, but nobody was going there anyway. It was far away, and when they took the dead person, so we were going after them.
Were you able to sit Shiva?
I don't remember this. I don't remember this.
Was there a Chevra Kadisha who took care
Yeah,
of
they
this?
took care of this. They took care of this. And people were dying in the street, and they used to pick up people on such wagons and bring them to this place, to this machine. And in 7 weeks, My, my mother passed away in June, my father maybe 2 weeks before, and our sister also, three people in 6 weeks. And life went on. We had to go next day, we went to school, to work, because if you didn't go to work, they came to look for you. Because they only needed people to kill, to send to Auschwitz. We didn't know where they're going. When they catch people in the street who didn't work, they catch them and they took them away, but we didn't know when and what. We knew that they will not come back anymore. One time I will never forget this, my brother, the oldest, they gave us a little later the ration, so he usually picked up the ration and he used to cook a little bit. So I'm sitting and working there in the shop, and I was a little bit like one of the better workers over there. And right away they come in to tell me that they took in my brother, that they caught him, and they wanted to already send them away. So because I was a little bit with the work good, and they needed me, and so they let me out, and they took him out from this place where they caught him in to send away. So life was going on like this, and we didn't have anything for to eat. And every night, my brother David, he used to cook for the people food for us. He used to cook food, and then we cut the bread. Everybody got a portion, and I never forget. I used to work for these people from this shop. There was like the president over there, and a little like dignitaries. I knew because their wife, I fixed for them the dresses, and they had plenty of food.
How did you know?
Because they gave me some food to take home for my family. First, when I came, they gave me a little soup or something. Money, you didn't work with money. The most thing was paid to give something to eat.
Do you remember any money in the ghetto?
No. We didn't have any money. Nobody was working for money. We were just working to be occupied.
Do you remember who ran this, who was in charge of the ghetto?
Rumkowski.
Did you ever see him?
No.
What did you know about him?
He was in a very bad spot because it just happened that they made like a meeting, like the big ones. This Rumkowski, he used to be in charge of our old age home, special for children. It was children there also. So they came in, and there was sitting a few dignitaries like police, little Jewish police. Right away they formed a Jewish police, and everything was in Jewish hands, but it was controlled from the Germans. So they came in, and they knocked with the boots, and where is he the älteste? So Rumkowski was stuck with the oldest there. So they say, you're going to be the älteste, the Juden. From the Juden, the älteste. So since then, he had a very bad job, because maybe he didn't want to do this, but he was already like in. They made him do these things. My husband used to tell me there was from children, like a little bit like sick children, a little bit crazy children, a little bit, when you're sick, you get a little crazy. So they used to come there, and they needed to make smaller this ghetto. How they make smaller? If they take out people. They have to save money, and they don't have any trouble more. So my husband used to tell me that they came over there with big black bags, and they stuffed the kids in the bags, and the kids were crying like anything. In a few minutes, they tied the thing, no cry anymore. I never forget this. My husband, he knew everything. Right away, then they said like this, whoever's going to work for the Germans is going to get some money, $9. So my husband, he right away signed in, and because they had already the names, so they took away their parents and the children from the houses. They looked always for connections to get the Jews to take them out from the ghetto and to send them away to Auschwitz. We didn't know that it was an Auschwitz. Nobody told us nothing. We just knew one thing, they took us away and who knows where and what. My husband was working in...
I need to know more about what you had seen. Do you remember Shabbos in the ghetto? Were you able to observe it at all?
People were afraid too much to go out in the street because they never knew who's going to catch them and what and when. So we used to hang around in the house and outside, like in the backyard. It was a big backyard, so we used to hang out there.
Were you able to keep track of the holidays or the
Not too
calendar
much.
at all?
Not too much. We didn't have a... Maybe the first year we still had a calendar from before. But later on, we didn't get on the calendars. People say that they used to have papers, but I don't remember this.
When you were living in the ghetto, in this one room, did other families come to you? Did you have anybody visiting you?
Everybody was very upset with the whole situation.
What sort of conversations would you have?
About what happened, and whom they took away, and what's going to be, and how long this is going to be. And everything remained like it was. Next day after Shabbos, I think Shabbos we had off. Then we had to go to the work right away. Otherwise, who didn't work was going in the street, they took him. And they disappeared somehow. Nobody knew where and what.
Did anyone in the ghetto ever get married? Did you have weddings?
I heard that people get married also. I don't know about this, but I heard that they wanted to make for people like a little bit like human, not the Germans, the Jews. It was like people used to take, I don't know who took care of us. And the time was going, and the people were missing, and I just remember that every time they came, and they wanted to thin out the ghetto. So the boys, like I told you, they were going in the street, whoever didn't go to work, they caught them. And they had such a place where they got them together and they sent them away. But one particular thing I remember, it was in September 43. They wanted to make like a real, to send away people. So they took us, we didn't know from nothing, we were in the rooms. Everybody was no place where to go. In the street you was afraid to go because they're going to catch you. So this I remember like today. They came with trucks, and we had already Jewish police. They thought the Jewish police, this Retkinski, he made like it this was, he thought that this going to be forever. That we're going to like to be there forever. So he made the Jewish police, and Jewish, like whoever died, to pick up the people, and to bring them to the cemetery. And because it started like we used to get used to this, that this is it. We just didn't know when this is going to stop. So then it came this September 43, and all of a sudden we hear big trucks coming, in police running upstairs in the houses and schlepping out people. The young people like the young people, but the older people right away, my parents were not alive anymore. And my sister died also. So it was less and less in the family. So they came up and they took us out. We were young, we went right away, young. And it just happened they took us to a school on the same block where we were living. Even on the same side, a school, a big school, a public school. But then, when we came over there, my brothers and my another sister too, was already 5 boys and 2 sisters. Me and my sister. So then we came over there, and we see, like in the front, like here, people laying sick and half dead and old, and it was this picture I never forget, never. It was so small, this place where they put the entrance when we came in, like this room, in the front. We stepped actually on the people. We were young, 19, 20 years. We wanted to run out, seeing what's going out. We wanted to try to run out from there all together. But the night came and we fell asleep, somehow. Excited and nervous, everything. The next day in the morning, we go out there in the backyard from the school, and we see Jewish police. And in the back, we hear already that it came big trucks to take some people, to catch people, to send them away. My sister, I had the next sister, she disappeared. I didn't know where and what, she's not here anymore. My brothers, the school had such a, but the kids should not go out, so how you call it, but they should not go out from the
Fence? A yard?
Fence, yeah. I give a look, and my brothers, they running out from this, they climbed over upstairs on top, and they run out. And I see them running towards my house. We were living in the same block. And me, I'm looking for my sister. I don't see my sister anymore. This is not here anymore. I saw there a policeman, a Jewish policeman, what I was sold for his wife, Mr. Frankel. And I tell him about this, and he says, come, I take you out from here. And he took me out, and I went back from 88 to 32, to my house. And we were already 5 children. 4 boys and me. Every time cut. We didn't have where to sleep because the beds and the wood, whatever we had to use for cooking. When they gave us food to eat, they didn't give us anything to cook, with what to cook.
How did you keep warm in the winter?
Trying. Put on another schmatter on top. So this picture I never forget, never.
What happened next?
Next day we had to go to work. Again, the same story. Because if you don't go to work, they have in the shops that you have to register. And if you didn't register that you're coming to work, next day they came to pick you up. Where was you? And they took. They only wanted to thin out the ghetto and to kill the Jews. This was the whole thing was to kill the Jews.
How long were you able to remain in the ghetto?
How long? From 40 till 44. This was the time. In 44, they tried that they liquidated the ghetto. The ghetto, There was little, less and less every time. So they came also on trucks and they brought us to this place. This was in the ghetto, like to get together, the people.
So what were you told?
They didn't tell us nothing. The police came with the trucks and rouse, and that's it. And we knew already what was going on. We knew that that is no good, that there's the end.
Who went with you? Do you remember who
My
went?
brothers, the 4 brothers,
So you were on the truck together.
yeah, to this place where they took us.
And what was that like? Where was this?
Not too far, like from here to New Jersey, actually, walking distance.
Did you take anything with you?
Some, another, practically not too much. We didn't have too much already. In 4 years, when you don't do anything, it gets less and less. And we came to this place, they took us on this truck, and this truck took us to the train. And we still didn't know what and when. We come to this on this truck, on this train. This was for the pits. There was no toilet. They had a pail. Whoever needed to go, you should excuse me. And then, food they didn't give us. Or maybe they gave a piece of bread. Maybe. I don't remember exactly.
What was your physical condition at that time?
I was okay because I didn't miss too much food. Because I was working like for the police wife and for dignitaries. I knew how to sew, and this was a big plus with the food. So I didn't miss any food, and my brothers, this Jackie, the oldest, David, he was like the mother in the family. He used to cook. I used to bring this from these people who I was working for them. I used to bring, they gave me like a piece of potato and a piece of, for the vegetables and a little flour. So somehow I was not hungry. And the shop where I was working, I was also there dignitary. The first one I knew how to sew, and I was sewing for the woman, like the principal there for this place. So I don't miss any food. And this, they gave me like a double portion. But to take out the food we couldn't. But I was not hungry.
How long were you on this train?
How long? I really don't remember how long. But quite a few hours, I don't remember. Because when we came there...
Where did you arrive?
Where? In Auschwitz.
What happened when the doors of the train were opened?
Raus, raus, raus.
Who gave
German.
What did you see when the doors opened?
Well, I never forget this picture also. You know, it just happened the Hungarians came a little bit before us, in 44. Till then they were in the houses. But I cannot believe me. So we see already that they cut them the hair. And when hair starts to grow, it's like there's an animal who had porcupine, yeah, something like this. And they were wearing already dresses, not dresses, like schmattes actually. And we got very scared and very upset, and we saw already what was going on over there.
What type of place did you think this was?
A meth house. Actually meth house. And they separated us right away. I was already right away alone. My brothers, they took away. I heard one brother, David, the oldest, that they took him to work. But what happened with him, I heard somebody told me that they took us for places to them, from one place to the other. When they saw the Russians are coming, so they, let's say they saw the Russians in corner coming, so they transferred to the next corner. But it was cold, and then it was already like summer, actually. When was it? Yeah, this was summer already. And people didn't have any clothes, no shoes. There was schmattes hanging around on the feet. And it was raining, and they got wet. And I heard that they shot him. When he bent down, you should excuse me to make, they shot him. And this was not soldiers. This was private German people. Private. They liked this job, and they got paid for it. And me...
This will be the end of our tape. 24th, 1996. Could you tell us what happened when you got to Auschwitz?
Yeah. We came out from these trains, and right away we had to march in 5. My brothers, they took away, they separated us right away, so I'm alone. And we come next to our toilet. It was a big toilet, like a half a block. And I never forget this. They took us into this toilet. Maybe people had to make, and they didn't want we should make toilet in this. And we see these people, I see that they cut them off the hair. The Hungarians, when they came maybe 2 months before. And they were wearing actually like schmattes, because they took away our clothes right away.
What happened as soon as you got off the train?
Yeah.
And you were put into these lines of 5. What was the first part of the processing when you got to Auschwitz?
The process right away, they took us there like by the toilet. This was the get together, that we should stick together.
But you still had clothes at that time?
This was a very short, like actually fast. They did everything fast because they were afraid that they were going to run away. So they did for those, it was everything fast. So then they cut off the hair for me, from us.
Who did this?
I think that Jewish people did this. It's like a barber. It just happened me they didn't cut off the hair, because I had more luck than brains. I don't know why. But most people, they cut off the hair, like this. And then they told us to take off the clothes, because they thought that everybody has their $1 million sewed in the clothes. So they took off our clothes, and they gave us a different top and a skirt.
Did this fit you?
Just have me fitted.
And what about your shoes?
Shoes, they don't take my shoes. All the people they took away, and they even left me a watch. I don't know. Like I told you before, I think I had more brains than luck than brains.
Were you tattooed?
No. And this time when we came, this was already like the list that they brought in people.
Were you showered?
Yeah. We were showered with water. All the people, they showered with gas. Whoever they wanted to kill, they showered them with gas. Us, they showered with water, and we were a whole night sleeping in the toilet, sitting and sleeping, a whole night.
Did you notice anything about the smell when you got to Auschwitz? Do you remember any image? Did you see smoke?
I don't know what these things, this boiling, the crematorium, or this was close to this place where they brought us. I don't know. We didn't go no place. We came on the watchful eyes, and we were on that we had to go like they wanted us, and we were afraid.
How long did you stay in this toilet area?
A whole night.
Was there any selection? Were people separated besides the male and female?
No. This what they saw right away. Who was old? They took separate.
Who determined that?
There was some Germans. I don't know, this was Mengele or somebody. We didn't know who and what. You come, you are frightened, you don't know what to say and what to do, and then you try to obey because you're afraid.
Were you with anybody you knew?
No, my brothers were not there already.
You had no friends with you or anyone else you knew from the ghetto?
Nobody. Nobody.
And what happened next?
No, this was the whole night. In the morning it was like between day and night. And they bring us to this to this where the preachers where we used to sleep.
What was that like?
This was like built up. I don't have a picture like this, but you see pictures that they show like people laying on these preachers. It was like the herring, one like this and one like this. And me, again with my luck, except now that I don't have anymore, I found a needle in the wall, by this preacher, by this bed. So I had already a needle, and I had a scoid with pleats. And next day, right away, there was a selection every day. We had 5 in line. And I don't know if this was Mengele or another German. They looked us over from top to bottom, half naked. And they put us back, after this looking us over, they put us back in this room, on the beds, on the bridges. And then I remember they gave us, you saw this little pot? This I think I have from Germany, from concentration camp. We used to get such a pots. They gave us coffee in such a pot. And I was there in Auschwitz 8 days, exactly 8 days. And then they took us to Bergen-Belsen.
How did you get there?
By train.
Did you know where you were going?
No. We didn't know nothing. They took us by 5 up on the thing, and nobody wanted to ask a void, and nobody was afraid to turn around, and we were on the trains, and we had it, and we there, I didn't even know that this is Bergen-Belsen, I didn't know nothing, but we are there, in this another concentration camp.
What happened when you got there?
We have a different type of accommodations. We had like big barracks, and on the floor was with straw, that we were sleeping on straw. Only for women, no men.
Were there any lineups in the morning or in the evening?
Every year. Once for sure in the morning. In the night, I don't remember. This was only that people should not escape.
Did you have this in Auschwitz also?
Yeah, the first 8 days we had this, every day. But I don't remember in the night. In the morning, I know for sure.
How long would that last?
In Auschwitz was 8 days.
How long did the lineups last?
They looked us over. They were going around, and look, oh, we don't have any diseases. They were afraid that they're going to catch from us something.
And in Bergen-Belsen, did you have these lineups, the appels?
Yeah. They had, in Bergen-Belsen, we had this also.
What did you wear in Bergen-Belsen?
They gave me in Auschwitz this outfit, a skirt, and this blouse. And it came in very handy. So in Bergen-Belsen, we were a lot of women, and I found that 2 girls, what just happened. One was from my town, from Lodz, and another girl. So we were sticking together, these 3 girls. We were sleeping like practically on one mattress. I don't remember exactly, one or two mattresses. We were sleeping together. We kept together.
Were you able to talk to each other?
Yeah.
What would you talk about?
What's going to be? And how long is it going to be?
Were you able to help each other?
Yeah.
How?
I hate to brag about myself, but this was the truth. So we come there to Bergen-Belsen, and I'm there with these two other girls, and first we would have gone such a purchase, I think. And I say to them, let's go out and see what's going on here, because we didn't have any food, they didn't give us. And they brought in food in toilet, in garbage cans. Such a big thing. So I say to this one girl, Luba, come, let's go, maybe we can catch a little food, something to eat. So I don't know where she went with me, but I went out, and I give a look. I see somebody there from Lodge, what I was sewing for her. She was there like Kramer, maybe you heard this Kramer was from, not this girl Kramer, but it was a big macher there. He was like in charge. So she was the babysitter by his kids. I don't know how she got in such a job, but she was there. And she sees me, and she screams right away, Esterka, ty tu jesteś? And she tells me right away in the night I should come there where they gave out food. And I went over there, and I had already this chisel here, and she gave me right away a pot with little cheeses, what was a little bit like stinky, this type of cheese, and barley, and a few pieces of bread. And I stay with this thing, what she gave me. Her name was Bella. And I stay with this food, and I'm thinking to myself, should I eat it up myself? Or should I go in there inside, give it to the other girls also something? I went in and like what she tells me, I don't say any lies. I gave them right away also and we didn't miss any food since then. I made them right away aprons, white aprons. The needle I had what I found in Auschwitz, and the cotton I had from the Skoid, what I took out cotton. And we had already food. This Luba and Marilka, a little girl, young girl. And we was there. This Bergen-Belsen was not so bad. In the beginning, they even gave us vitamins. Yeah, really. This man who watched us, he was an old man. They called him the Jadush, a Jad, an old Jad, an old man. And when we went out, he didn't want we should stay in the sun. We should not get a sunstrail. So Bergen-Belsen was not so bad. But people were dying from hunger.
How did you know these were vitamins?
Or maybe it was this we should not get the period. Maybe, I don't know.
What were you told?
We didn't ask. There was nobody to ask. There was nobody that you could change the situation. So you kept your mouth closed. And we had somebody from this block where we were laying, where we were staying, our home. So she was a Jewish girl. But she had to obey orders. So some girls wanted to run away also, and so she had to keep a strong hand.
Did she punish anyone?
No. So then they were laying on the floor, everybody was laying on the floor, on the straw mattresses. So there's laying women from Hungary, from Czechoslovakia. You could see doctors' wives, elegant women, but not in the clothes what everybody was wearing, the schmattes. But they were saying to me, and I'm ashamed even to talk about this because maybe you will think that I'm bragging about myself. I had the bread. So I saw people laying I gave them a piece of bread, them a piece of cheese. It's a pity that this Luba doesn't live here. She is also from Lodz. And then this was in Bergen-Belsen. This was like, I think in January, December or January. So they took us out, and they sent us to another place, Magdeburg. This is a factory where they make Waffen, ammunition.
Did you work in Bergen-Belsen at all?
Bergen-Belsen was not a working place.
How
It
long
was
did you
like
stay
a
there?
get-together.
How long did you stay there?
I stayed there maybe 2-3 months, from September till January or December, 3-4 months.
And how did you reach this next camp?
By train, an elegant train.
Who
Yeah.
went with you?
Not a few people.
Did you know where you-
train full.
Did you know
This-
where you were going?
No.
Did
They
you have a
didn't tell
choice?
us.
Were you allowed to pick if you
No,
wanted to
they
go or
put
not?
us in. It was an elegant train with really elegant. We didn't know, and we come there to this Magdeburg. And Magdeburg, they right away they selected us what we're gonna do, and they gave us the pills also. Maybe it was not to get the period. This can be. Now I thought first that it was vitamins. How good can they be? So there in Auschwitz,
In Magdeburg?
in Magdeburg, people went to work for the ammunition.
What did you do?
I was potatoes cleaning. So I got rid of a few potatoes also. But then they wanted to check us, are we healthy? Because we dealt already with ammunition and with Germans. So they took us, they made us X-rays. X-rays.
Who did this?
The Germans. They had a laboratory, they made us X-rays.
Were you staying in a factory?
No, also in a big place. We had to sleep on bridges. Such a place is special.
Was there a fence around this?
I don't remember what it was. I don't think so.
Were there lineups, the appels every day? At cell appel? Did you have lineups?
Lineups? Yeah, every place. They watched us like gold, but they treated us like garbage. So this in in Magdeburg, I was not too long, because they always shifted people. And they sent us back to Bergen-Belsen. Not everybody, some.
Why were you sent back?
Why they didn't want people to be steady on one place. I was cook potatoes, and they gave us the pills, and then they made us the X-rays for the back, for the lungs.
Were you considered healthy?
I think so.
What happened to the people who weren't?
They took him out, and we didn't see them anymore. We didn't know where and what, but we didn't see them anymore. I know about me. Me, they sent back to Bergen-Belsen. maybe other people also, I'm sure other people also. Also in a very elegant train, and we came back to Bergen-Belsen, back on the floor with the straw sacks. And this was already like in February that we came back.
How did you stay warm?
They gave us, I think, like a cover to cover ourselves. I think, I don't remember exactly.
How did you keep clean?
I don't remember taking a shower for a year, for this whole few years. We knew that we're going to take showers is a bad situation. That this water's not going to come. Gas is going to come. So we didn't know and we didn't care.
How did you learn about the gas? At what point did you
People
know?
started in Bergen-Belsen. People used to tell already what's going on.
Did you believe everything you had heard?
We believed already everything on the Germans, because they were out to kill us. That when people remained alive was a mess. So what can I tell you?
What happened when you returned to Bergen-Belsen? What was it like a second time there?
Second time, I was working again for the Germans,
What were you doing?
for the Broodkammer.
What was this?
What a year, I remind myself. I came back to Bergen-Belsen and I'm sitting and sewing for this Broodkammer, what they gave out the food. And then it comes this German. Give a look maybe, I think. No? I think my daughter is here, I think. I came to Bergen-Belsen and I'm sewing this aprons. And then
So what happened?
What happened?
When you were sewing the aprons?
Yeah, so the German, she was the one that she took care of this barrack with the people. So she sees me sewing these dresses, these things, and she says I should come to her house and I will work for her privately. And so, more brains than I think it's my grandson and my daughter. So I went to her to work. Then she gave me a piece of bread already, and she gave me like private. I was working for her. She gave me like a piece of apple and a piece of onion, and it was not bad.
How long did you do this?
Not to a long time, because one time it came. One time a man came, an old man, and he wanted something to eat. And I tell him that I'm going to look around. And I gave him something, piece of bread or something. Meanwhile, this German, they called him Aufseherkes. She looked on us. She said that she thought maybe I have connections with men. So she gave me a Satz, and she said I out from working for her. I went back to the room where I was staying with these people, and I think this was like about till the end from the war.
When were you liberated?
Hmm?
When were you liberated?
In April 15, or May.
And who liberated you?
The Englander.
And what was that like?
They came in with naturally with the hurrah, hurrah, and we run out from the rooms, and we were staying there, and we didn't know what happened. We were crying and laughing and everything together. And they gave us chocolate, and they gave us cigarettes, and some bread.
How did you feel with the liberation? What was your reaction to it?
Nobody believed it, actually, in the beginning, because we didn't believe it. But then when we saw that, and they say that they are British, Englander, so we believed this, and it was like the end of the war.
What was your physical condition at that point?
Not bad, because I didn't have it bad in there. It's a shame to say, and I cannot blame nobody. It was just my luck.
Where did you go after liberation?
In Bergen-Belsen we remained. They chased them out from this barracks, the Germans, and they put us in this barracks.
How long did you stay there?
Well, there at least more than a year.
Did you work?
Later I didn't work anymore after the war, because we were able to go and get some food. So I didn't work.
How long did you hold on to that needle that you had found?
I think I have it still today.
Did you travel home after this?
Not home.
Where did you go?
I didn't want to go to Poland. My husband came to find a sister.
Okay, we're going to stop the tape now. My wife is Esther Retkinski. After you left Bergen-Belsen, where did you travel?
I didn't leave Bergen-Belsen. I was staying first. My husband came and he was looking for a sister.
He wasn't your husband at that time?
No. A man. I was staying like on the first floor, and I went again about my sewing to somebody to meet over there, and we supposed to go the same night, not with my husband, but this woman there, to see a movie. It was right after the war. We wanted a little bit, we thought that we are mentioned already. So then my husband stays on the first floor, and he asked me if I know somebody Retkinski. So I said, there's so many girls here. There was a camp only for girls. So he asked me right away if I want to go with him. I said, I don't have nobody, and this and that. Anyway, he went home to Wolfenbüttel, and a few weeks later he came again to Bergen-Belsen. There was already a lot of Jewish people, and it was already like cooking. It was already like Labor Day. And we went right away to think about getting married. There was nobody to ask for permission. There were no father, no mother, no sisters, nobody. And I was excited because he was from Lodz. And he was also glad that I'm from Lodz. The same hobbies and the same food what we were eating. And we got married. Our wedding was the first wedding.
When was this?
In October 7.
1945.
Yeah.
And what's his name?
Henry Hersch.
Did you leave the camp at that time?
No, we
Stayed.
remained over there. We remained over there at least a year.
Were you able to find any surviving family members?
Nobody.
Were you able to check?
I was checking, I was asking every time Jackie went with Pashi to Israel, they were looking in the Yad Vashem. Nobody's left.
At what point did you leave Bergen-Belsen?
When I left Bergen-Belsen, when I was pregnant already with Jackie, so I went to Bergen-Belsen because we had next city, there was a big city, a bigger city, Braunschweig. and there was a rabbi, and there was a lot of people, and my husband became then in Wolfenbüttel, he became like the eldest from the Juden. There was, so we were staying there a year and a half. And then Jackie was born in Wolfenbüttel, and we was thinking what's going to be here. So I had family here in America, in Boston, and we wanted to come to America because I had family. My husband, of course, wanted to go to Israel, but because of my family, I had cousins, and they were rich people in Boston, and they wanted a job. He should get a job. But he was young, also in the 20s, and very like handsome guy, and talented. He didn't need nothing from nobody. So when they sent us the affidavit to come to America, we were already, the UNRWA, the UJA sent us here to America.
At what point were you able to resume your Jewish lifestyle?
The Jewish lifestyle, as soon when we came here, Jackie was 3 years old. So then we moved to Bronzeville. I don't know, you heard from Bronzeville. And by 5 years, he went to Chaim Berlin. And we moved, wherever the kids went to school, we moved in the neighborhood. We didn't have nobody. When we came to America, Davko, when he was 3, 4 years old, we had a Borough Park family, so we were living with somebody like a border. And my husband right away brought this machine from Europe, the sewing machine. And he started right away to make like slip covers. My husband was very talented. And we went to Bergen-Belsen, we moved to Bronzeville. And Jackie was going to Chaim Berlin. And then Miriam was born. How many years later? I think like 3 or 4 years later.
Did you have other children?
I had 3 children.
The third child's name?
Chaim. Sheldon, Chaim.
How would you describe your religious affiliations now?
Oh, I tell you, it just happened that my husband was a very how you call it, a traditional Jew. He brought everything to the shul, not food. But let's say it came, oh, I cannot go. I want to show you something. I have here. It came Yom Tiv. He made a flag of patzikis in the shul. Then he brought, when they brought Spirim, the klappe, how you call it? The Gregor. 2, a klappe and a Gregor. One I gave to my grandson already here, my grandson. And come Shavuos, he made pictures from the trees and from, very religious oriented, very. And then we moved in Prospect Place, and down at the bottom was a shul. And I was sitting on top and listening how they daven. And I did pretty good. I learned out how to daven.
Do you belong to a synagogue now?
If I go, I still cannot forget, a few weeks ago, Shabbos was a big rain, maybe you remember, and I didn't go to shul, and I don't forget this.
Where do you go?
All over. Because my customers, they make simchas, and they always invite me.
How do you support yourself now?
I do a little sewing.
What comes to mind when you think back to the Holocaust? What one image?
What can I tell you? I don't know why they did this. I cannot understand. And they are a bunch of murderers. And why they did this, I still don't understand, because it just happened in Poland. The people were very poor. Most of the people. You cannot say that they came from Germany, they had a lot of money, from the Jews over there. From Hungary, maybe also. But from Poland, they didn't have too much, because the people were most poor. There were rich people also there. And they took away everything. This was the whole thing. The Holocaust was to take away everything from the Jews and to kill the Jews, for no reason.
When were you first able to talk about your experiences?
We speak about this day in and day out. My grandchildren, they know everything. Hanalaya wrote here something for the school they needed, so she wrote a little poem, something.
What do you think gave you the strength to survive?
Time goes by, and my husband was very talented and very like a mensch, good, and a mensch, and he did everything for me. When I needed something, I said that I could use it. I had it already the next day. And it was raining or snowing, it was brandnish. Why you have to run today? By use every time tomorrow. He went, and that's it, and I have it already. It's already, he's away already 11 years, and I still have the elastic, the rubber, and the cottons, full of cottons, I will show you. I still have everything, what he brought to the house. He was a big organizer, and he was a good man. Everybody knew him. My customers, he was very close with them.
Did you ever question the existence of Hashem?
We were right away religious when we came to America. Like I told you, he right away was connected with the shuls, right away. In Bronzeville. And in the beginning, we used to go to, when Jackie was not born yet, when I was pregnant, we used to go to this other city, Braunschweig. And we were right away, like, in this sviva.
Do you ever have any dreams or nightmares as a result of your experiences?
No, I always talk about this. Always, especially when it comes to the sewing. When people come here with the sewing, I tell them right away what happened, where I found the needle, and they know me like they know a sister.
What advice do you have for your children and your grandchildren and future generations?
God should help me, they should not have to went through something like this. Because the worst thing is that I remain myself. I have nobody. No sisters. I see people have sisters and brothers. I don't have nobody. And alone to be is very bad. Very bad. So what can you do? I'm a type of a person that I take things as it is. Because it's not going to help me nothing. But I'm going to cry and think in this. Take it as it is.
What message would you now like to deliver to the world?
I met on the Germans, and I didn't want to go back to Poland either, because the Polish people, they didn't do too much bad to me, I cannot say. But what I heard, that people who are hiding between the Polish people, that they gave them out, that I didn't have this experience. So, but on the Germans, I met why they did this, for what reason. What they didn't bother them, they didn't even knew them. But who knows? Maybe it's supposed to be like this. Who knows? We're trying to think why, but you don't get an answer.
Thank you on behalf.
Yeah, this is my 3 brothers. Sandal,
Who's on the right? On the left?
on the left, Sandal, and on the horse is, on the right is Avrumalo, and the little one is Moishalo.
When was this taken?
Then we took them maybe someplace, not in the ghetto, this was before the ghetto. In the ghetto we didn't have so much pleasures to take people to things. Maybe we went to a circus or something. Well, this picture is when I was about 17 years old, and I was working already by a dressmaker, and I made myself the dress with the collar. This is my sister Hoodies. She was the third one from our children, and we went together with them to a circus, so she took a picture also.
When do you think this was?
Before the war, like in maybe 1937, because the war started in 39. So we took them. And this is me, and I was married then already, and I just had my big son, Jackie, in Wolfenbüttel. And we took a picture.
When was this?
In 1946. No, 47 maybe. 46. And this is my husband. This was in 1947. And we had a very good life.
His name?
Henry Hirsch. This is the wedding in October 45, and this was my handsome husband. And the gown, the German made me the gown. They made me the wedding. It was a beautiful wedding.
Where was this?
In Braunschweig, Germany.
Was this a kosher wedding?
Yeah. So here on the picture, it was a bar mitzvah, and the big family with no parents and no aunts and nobody are here. So I have here my 3 sons, 3 children.
Who's on the right
One
side?
is, oh, you should go by line?
Yes.
This is my granddaughter, Hanalayo, with her baby. Then comes my daughter and my son-in-law,
Their names?
Miriam and Leslie.
Last name?
Papa.
And then next to
Then
them?
comes Sheldon Retkinski, my son, the youngest son, with his wife.
Her name?
Shandy.
And next?
And this is their son, Jonathan. Then comes my son, my oldest son, Jackie.
Next?
Next is his son-in-law and his wife.
The names?
The name is Shammai and her name is Ruchamalko. Sitting next to my son is his wife, Bashi, with a little grandchild on the hand. The name from the grandchild is Batsheba. Then to my right is a grandson with a grandson. The grandson's name is Avrum, and the little boy, is
And who's next to them?
Then next sitting is a granddaughter, Hayesuro. And then comes my 2 grandchildren, And then comes me.
What are the girls' names?
Oh, Yiddish noemen. Leah in Chaisura. Then comes me, and then my granddaughter and my grandson. This is the whole family.
Go ahead.
Should I say?
Yeah.
This is the pot, the little schissel, how you say? A little schissel, a pot, what I brought from Auschwitz. And I was keeping this as a big souvenir, and I cherish this.
Okay.
Could you tell us about this?
Yeah. Should I say? This needle I cherish like more than money. Because this needle comes from from Auschwitz, when they took us on a selection, and I found a needle there in on the wall. And this kept me, I was sewing for the Germans, and this kept me at least for life, thanks to God.